This is Shaun Sport in podcast form.
Great man Matthew Pavlich is in the house.
Hello, Shawnee. Hello, Nathan. Hello, Nat.
I want to ask Shaun about Matthew Pavlich back in the day.
Yeah.
In the locker room.
Yes.
Was he one of the ones that just strutted around in his jocks?
A proud
in front
nude.
of, you know, what was he like? Or was he one of the nudies?
Or a never nude.
No, he's not a never nude, that's for sure. I've seen his whole body many times.
Yeah, he's very good at the helicopter.
He always went with either red jocks or red speedos.
Yep.
Yeah. What about Shaun? Was Shaun strutting around, everyone like, bending down slowly to pick up things?
No, but one particular player, Shaun was probably, he liked his speedos as well. So, ice bath, pool, and then into the shower speedos. But no, he probably wasn't strutting around like others.
Yeah.
One particular player used to have a property manager, Paddy Watson, who was into his probably 70s or 80s.
Yeah, he was.
At the end of his tenure at the footy club, and we used to call him Little Yoda because he looked like
Yoda.
He looked like Yoda. He's a beautiful man, and he used to get all the property stuff ready for us. But one particular player who used to wear number 1 would finish the training session, and Paddy would stroll through, getting the jumpers, getting all the stuff out of the change room. And this one particular player would stand at the end of the locker room, and he'd already taken his pants and his shoes and his boots off, and would stand there with his arms up and say, "Paddy, can you please take my jumper off?"
So he's naked from the waist down. Yeah.
Naked. This person was from Kalgoorlie,
Yes,
Nate.
you know who this person is.
Oh.
Yeah.
And he did it religiously. And we never stopped
We won't
laughing.
name names.
I will.
But number
Luke
one.
Toya.
You're number one, yeah. Number one was from Kalgoorlie.
But it got me giggling every single time because Paddy would sort of like giggle over and laugh and say, "Oh, Luke, stop doing this." And
then take his
And then
jumper
take the
off for him,
jumper off.
like he's 4.
It's so funny.
There was this one guy who was when I was still at the club coaching side, retired. Have you played with him? His first name was Josh, and I'll leave it there. But
right.
anyway, I'd finished working here with these guys, and I've gone down to the change rooms, and I went to talk to him about his game on the weekend. So I was in the change rooms. He's come out of the shower, and he's got his towel wrapped around his neck because he was well hung. So he didn't worry about... Like, he saw that I was there and I was going to have a chat to him. So I was just sitting on the bench waiting for him to finish. Thought he'd, towel put on his
You're
head. No.
wearing clothes, I presumably?
Yeah. So he just puts his leg up next to me, a towel around his neck, like nothing's happening. So what are Nathan and Nat like? And I go, yeah. I go, you're just trying to show off here. You're not interested in anything else.
This particular...
I heard that Aaron Sanders wouldn't come with a towel around his neck, he'd come with something else around his neck.
This particular guy you're talking about would just be... He would be happy to sit there...
Yeah.
In the nude.
In the
He'd just be
nude.
happy to sit there in the nude and,
No shame.
Yeah, no shame.
Well, he's packing some heat, so he was up for it.
Oh, jeez. How did we get onto this topic?
Me.
Okay.
Go figure.
It's pretty obvious.
Hey, Pav, we got
to
some
talk football?
big time finals, and Ken Hinkley, we mentioned this earlier on, right? So Ken Hinkley joins Mark Williams on 273 games, coached for Port Adelaide. And yesterday's press conference, people started, once they warmed into it, the journalists were coming at him about, is his future going to be okay if they lost this game? Because it's going to be a hard game.
Yeah.
Where do you see it?
Well, I take my mind back to. Can you remember 2006 when we'd sort of gone out in the finals in 2003, lost the first game against Essendon, sort of hadn't made the finals, went across, we'd won 9 or 10 in a row, went across to Adelaide, narrowly lost that first qualifying final and came back, and there was a lot of pressure on Chris Connolly at the time, a lot of pressure on the players, and so you feel it. Like every player would be feeling it this week at Port Adelaide. Ken would be feeling it hugely at Port Adelaide, Josh Carr, all the other coaches. So it is unavoidable, the heat they've been under. So
It's amazing, though, because by any other measure,
they've
had a
been
great
so successful.
year.
Yeah. But,
And finished second on the ladder.
but when
It's
you lose
extraordinary.
the first final by 84 points at home...
That wasn't great.
and it basically dug up all that happened 2 years ago against the Western Bulldogs in the preliminary final. So this notion that they can't get it done in big finals, they can't get it done at home, that they can't handle the heat, they're fine when it doesn't matter in inverted commas during the season. Obviously it does, but when it comes to a big game, so you would be feeling that internally. So what you have to do is block all of that out, talk about you'd probably acknowledge the fact there's a lot of stuff going on outside the four walls and all those cliches, but you would acknowledge it internally, but then focus back on what actually matters. And this week, I think, for them, it wouldn't be about tactics and game style and planning against Hawthorn. It would just be, you know what, we have to have a red hot crack. We have to
it's gotta
do
be
all the
hard.
things. It's just literally, they did not show up last week. They were fumbly. They didn't execute with the ball in hand, but they were a bit soft. They were a bit timid in the contest. And so strip it all back, just focus on going hard at the ball, tackling, pressure, chase, tackle, all those things.
Tell you what, though, the Hawks are rampaging, aren't they? How good do they look?
They do. They're incredible.
They've come from nowhere.
Yeah, and they've got that belief. It's almost a bit like Richmond in 2017. It's a bit like who else? Melbourne in 2021 when they won it here.
It feels like their destiny
momentum.
at this point. Yeah.
Now, can they actually go across there and do it again? Sam Frost is out, who's a pretty crucial cog in their back half.
Sam Frost from The Bachelor.
From The Bachelor.
Yeah.
No, not Sam Frost from The Bachelor.
Oh.
I'd get Nathan
Football got excited.
Whoa, I thought she was on Home and Away.
It's amazing. She used to do a radio show with your cousin.
Yeah, I know. Now she's tackling men.
Different Sam
Frosty.
Frost, right.
Well, who was first? Who was famous first? Was it the
No,
girl
I
Sam
think the
Frost? Or
Bachelorette would have been famous first.
Oh, how embarrassing for him.
Because how old Sam Frost, the footballer?
He went to the Giants early 2000, like 2010, 11. So
No, it is in his low 20s, mid 20, 24,
Sam
25.
Frost. No, he's been around for a long time.
Has
He was
he?
Giants, then Melbourne, and then Hawthorn. So
What
Really?
about Sophie Monk from the Dockers?
she was good on the wing.
Just ask her. Pav, so there's the Giants who are playing Brisbane who are in great form, and I think Brisbane might get up. I want to hear your tips, because last week you left us here with the Bulldogs, right? The Bulldogs
got smashed.
They
Yeah.
could be the team who win it.
Well, so history will tell us the top four teams
Yes.
this weekend in the semi-finals. So if you lose the first week and you host the semi-final, you generally win, right?
Okay.
So that means Port Adelaide beat Hawks tonight and the Giants beat Brisbane.
There's always an exception.
But I'm
Didn't
with
the
you.
Bulldogs win from fifth?
Yeah, but hang on, but not always. History
they
says
were-
so.
yeah.
If you're talking about percentage and numbers,
Sorry,
the
yes.
likelihood is those two
That's
teams
true.
that lost last week
But there
win this
are
week.
exceptions.
There are exceptions, and this year I think is you can almost throw that history out of the out of the equation, mainly because the difference between second, who was Port, and Fremantle to 10th was like a win, like one and a half
right.
wins. So it was so even. So you can make a case for Brisbane to beat the Giants very easily. You could certainly make a case for the Hawks to beat the Power tonight. I think Port will somehow get it done. I think there's too much emotion, too much care for Kenny. I think the players will galvanise and get it done and upset the Hawks tonight. And tomorrow night's just a real toss of the coin. I think you're right. Brizzy have definitely... They looked really good for, 2 quarters last week, 2.5 quarters, then sort of dropped away because the game was done. I'm going with the Giants just because it's at home. But
And better song.
Who are you
and a
going
better
with,
song.
Sean?
I know the French national anthem, the Lions.
Nah,
I do like
it's a
the
big,
Jo- I
big
mean, we
sound
love
from the
the-
west of the town.
Yeah,
Are you
that's-
serious?
I mean, we like
There we
it.
go.
So are you going with the song you like?
French national anthem. Please bring that one up.
Yeah,
Let's compare.
I think with my tipping, I can break it down to songs.
Yeah, okay.
So get away from stats, facts. The team I think
Form.
should be
It's
winning.
like how you choose your horses by colours.
And names.
It's working so
Who,
well
who
for
are you
me.
going with then? So you're saying Hawks and
No, I actually
Brizzy?
think that Brisbane can win. I think they can win the
Is
win
this the
title.
French national anthem?
We are the boys.
That is the same.
La Marseillaise.
Yeah.
We heard a lot at the
clever.
Olympics.
Unfortunately, I heard this a bit when I played.
Oh my god!
Yeah, that was a golden era.
Oh
wasn't it?
my god!
They were
They're on a
good.
free fall.
Three-peat.
And then one thing about Brisbane, Nate, this was they bucked the trend back in the day when they went on this winning spree of winning finals, grand finals that is. One day they came out and they all wore white boots, and back then it was like, oh my god, you show off.
Oh, really?
You're going to
Really?
get your head belted in for wearing coloured boots.
Why?
But
For
everybody
showing
does
off?
it.
Because everyone wore black boots. And then the whole team did it one day,
Chris
and they were in the
Johnson,
Adidas
Mal Michael,
Pav.
yeah, the Predators. They were the first white boots back in the day, the Adidas Predators, yeah.
But now everyone's boots are different.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's right.
No one gives a rat's.
So they're taking photos with
Yeah.
wizard hats and doing all sorts of things.
I know, what's that about?
Talk
What's
to
that
me
about?
about your boots. What did you play in? What was your...
I was Adidas, so I
Yeah.
had the old Copa Munuals when I first started
Sponsored?
here. No, when I first started, no.
Yeah.
No.
about
But I was an Adidas man my whole career. So
What about you?
Still are, Pav? Sorry.
yeah,
Yep.
ish. No, I'm a swinger these days.
Yeah.
Sometimes he wears
Don't tell
Louboutins.
Lawrence.
No, the first time we turned up to the Dockers for the very first moment of training, I got given free night boots, 2 pairs. Because,
Oh,
your
geez,
parents
Sean.
can't afford to buy you
Wow.
2 pairs.
That would have been so exciting.
And I walked out with 2 pairs of Nikes
Yeah.
and a carton of Emu Export. And I walked in the door of my
from
place.
the footy club.
Yeah, was a major sponsor. And I walked in the door.
What about
I was
the
living with
Yogo
mates at the
fridge?
time, and I was like, have a go at me.
Hey, hey, hey.
Come Get around him.
Good times.
Anyway, good times, eh, Pav?
Good
Yeah.
chance.
Well, you know the other thing the Lions used to do, which was controversial at that stage, was the old pick in the arm and the hydration.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
yes.
Half-time.
That's
Yeah.
all the celebrities do.
Well, it was so
The
hot,
IV drips.
you know.
yeah.
Yeah. Also, it was cheating. But,
What,
you know,
though? Is it though?
yeah, you can't do that.
Yeah, right.
Particularly at half time.
Oh, really?
And you can't
Well, I
do
mean-
it after the game now either. You can't.
That was
so
a big.
you got to
No.
just drink your fluids orally.
Yeah, unless there's a medical issue,
Yeah.
And the doctor okays it. No, you can't.
You can't routinely do it. I mean,
IV.
that was a big departure from having a cigarette at halftime. So, you know.
It was very professional, wasn't it?
Do you remember go and watch your old boy play when Steve was playing? The dudes were having
Yeah.
a dart in the chat. Do you remember? You would have
were
seen that
they?
country
Yeah,
footy.
Oh,
It
yeah,
wouldn't
of
happen
course,
all
back in
the
the
time.
country.
And
I
probably still
used to
does.
sit. Well, Dad started coaching in the reserves in the SANFL, and then also the under 17. So when I'd play my game in the morning in Adelaide on a Saturday morning, and then we'd literally get home, get changed, and go off to, all the SANFL suburban grounds.
Yeah.
And I'd sit on the bench. When Dad was coaching, and
that's cute.
Dad.
Did you hold his cigarettes?
Dad never smoked. Mum did. Dad never smoked, and he very rarely, he had a few beers or drinks, but he never swore in front of me. He almost never swore in front of me, and so
Really?
you had all these bogans
like?
Yelling across the what a footy game can be
Yeah.
like, and there's Dad at quarter time being really nice and calm and composed, and quite
Gentlemanly.
pointed with
Yes.
his
Yeah.
feedback, but just never swore. So
Can I go back to you?
Oh,
Your
that's
dad
nice.
never
Awesome.
swore at you.
no.
The only words I ever got from my father were swear
Well, I think that probably
words
reflects
followed
on you,
by
though.
physical punishment.
Maybe Pav was a good kid.
Did he hit you?
I think I remember getting a couple of.
Oh,
yeah,
we got
couple of-
yeah.
smashed.
Yeah, it was more the way.
Starts to make sense, doesn't it, Pav?
We got smashed.
Do we need to have a talk after
Yeah.
this?
Mum hit me so hard once she broke her fingers.
We can talk to people about it.
Good times, Matt. Who you got in the Waffle Grand Final playing East Perth? Who you
I
picking?
think I'm going with Peel. Upset. Peel to beat the
Black
Swatties,
Ducks.
which will be no easy feat over there. And it's always hard to win up there. But so East Perth and Peel Thunder
And
Grand
so
Final.
we're away next week, so we won't get to talk about, who do you think's going to make it into the AFL Grandie?
Yeah, so that's a good question. I think so. It'll be a Sydney and Port Adelaide prelim, and Sydney will
You think,
win
yep,
that.
yep.
And who's the other match? So
Geelong.
it'll cross over. So Geelong and Giants. I think the Giants might get them.
Down in the cattle.
Can you imagine a
Oh, if it was.
Sydney
A Sydney Giants grand final.
I
That'd be
can
big- but it'd be
see.
great. It'd
I
be
can
fantastic
see
for the game.
the Giants beating Geelong, absolutely. But I think Brisbane might beat the Giants.
So you're saying the grand final is?
It's an all Sydney
Sydney.
grand final.
Sure.
And
I'll
you're
go,
saying-
I'll go with Sydney to Brisbane.
Sydney, Brisbane,
All
yeah.
right, what are we putting on the line here?
Gee, the AFL will be flat, won't they?
What,
If they
what,
don't get
what,
the
are we,
Cats
what
in?
are we putting on the line if one of you are wrong?
One of us is going to be wrong.
I think Hawthorn and Smokies to get in there.
The Hawks?
Yeah.
All right, let's have it. So you're saying Hawthorn and...
Yeah.
So that'll be Hawthorn and... the winner
No,
of
yeah.
Brisbane Giants or
Yeah.
Geelong.
Let's say Hawthorn, Brisbane.
Okay, here's the deal, Nate.
Do you
You
have
just
to
give us
pick
a
two?
tip. Okay, the person who picks the winner doesn't have to buy the rest of the team burritos, and the other
Like that.
people have
Yeah.
to put in.
Pav, you prepared to put his money for stuffed burritos?
Yeah, I think we can do better than burritos.
Oh, they're very good burritos.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah,
They're very
yeah.
good.
Breakfast burritos.
With
They're
Coronas?
$25 each. Of course, it's
Never
right.
too early.
Come on, mate.
So which
Yeah,
teams are you
Nathan,
picking,
you better-
Nathan?
I don't even know who's playing.
Yeah, exactly.
Who's in,
Okay,
who's
let me
out?
write it down for you.
Okay, you write them down.
few
Okay,
teams.
here
The
we go.
Giants, you can choose from.
Oh, I like their song.
Yeah.
How many times you got to listen to that? The Giants, Brisbane, and who's on that side? Geelong are on that side of the draw. Is that
Yes.
right? And
Yeah.
then so Port, Hawthorn, and Sydney. You just have to pick
All right.
one of those or one of those.
All right. One of those and
Yep,
one of those?
correct.
And hurry up because Amy's winding you up with her
Amy's
whole
just putting her
arm.
shoulder.
Like, this is
Shut up,
boring.
Amy.
She
What's happening?
dislocated her shoulder. She was winding us up so hard.
All right, I'm going to go, and I don't know if you guys, I'm going to go Giants and Port.
Okay.
Okay.
What
That's
are you
different.
going? Who are you going?
I'm going Giants and Sydney.
I'm going Sydney and Brisbane.
Natalie?
Hawthorn to Brisbane.
Oh, we're all
Love it. This
different.
is good.
I'm the
This is
most
great.
wrong, aren't I?
No,
Not necessarily.
you're not.
All of these scenarios
You're not.
are possible.
No.
Not just
Okay.
possible, but it could definitely
Let's
happen.
see.
I really hope we've got this draw right in my head.
Go on, you Pav.
Thanks, Pav.
See you soon.
Yes,
Shaun Sport in podcast form.
Well, we're just talking about golf there, and for some reason we got onto golf buggies. Nathan was on the TV. This is sport, everyone.
A woman stole a golf buggy on the TV, and then she drove it to a bus stop, and that's where the police.
Sorry, she allegedly stole it.
Yeah, I was telling you about
where she is.
down in Dunsborough, a couple of blokes, they decided that they were a bit thirsty, so the second tee's very close to the bottle shop over at Three Bears, so they just drive through the drive-through. They got in trouble.
By the police?
Yes.
Oh. And the golf
They didn't get charged, though.
Yeah.
The police just gave them a talking to.
A warning.
It's like when I see someone like walking home with a trolley. I just think, you're not going to do that.
Yeah.
You're not taking that trolley back, are you?
No, they're not.
Yeah.
They push it into the bushes.
Yeah, so I'm guessing a golf cart's worse.
Yes.
But then they
More
drive back.
expensive,
Yeah.
How much is a golf cart? Like 8,000, I'm going to say.
Yeah, I reckon you're right. Yeah, my mate's got one.
Harry,
Blinder,
get on
good
that.
morning.
Get on that.
We'll check that out.
Thank you.
In the
Cheaper on
meantime,
gummy.
though, the way,
Would be, of course.
the Port Adelaide Football Club have got a lot to play for because they could go out of the finals in straight sets tonight. And we do know that Ken Hinkley, their coach, is under pressure from the outside because he was doing a press conference yesterday and he wants to turn up to this press conference and talk about the game. And then it takes one journalist after they throw a thing. Oh, someone got through training, and then it was started. One, are you worried about your job if you get beaten?
It's
and then they piled in, mate.
Wow.
They're just coming at him left,
And
right,
then-
and
this
centre.
world,
That's
but
it.
a team that finished second on the ladder, that the coach is that much under the pump. It's amazing.
Well,
isn't
he
it?
said he's not. He said, I've got a contract for next year, so
Yeah.
you guys are trying to make your
story
story
out of
up
nothing.
and a storm in a teacup.
But I mean, we're
it's pretty
talking about
volatile.
a team where their own supporters were booing him earlier in the season, and then
They
he
were.
coached them to second on
It
the
would
ladder.
be
It's
amazing to
extraordinary.
be in the position
To
where
me.
you get paid out of a contract, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Happened to a couple of my mates. So here's one, Adam Simpson.
Yeah.
There's one.
Yeah.
My mate Bondi, who was at the Freo Dockers when he was captain of our football club, and not Chris Connolly.
How many
Damien
years did he
Drum.
get paid out?
He had 1 full year of pay.
So what was that, $17,000?
That was in my time. I forgot it wasn't that much money. Jesus.
Nowadays.
So, Prince, well, that bought you a lot back then, though.
Yeah, but so he went back to Victoria, where he was from. Well, not originally, but went back to Melbourne, and he coached the football, Werribee Football Club, and got paid a full-time job there, but also had the payout from the Dockers.
Just to be
Pretty
paid
good,
out of a contract, so you get the money that you're supposed to get for working there, and then you get to work somewhere else, so it's double money.
It is.
Or you just take the year off,
Yeah.
and you just live off that money.
Sabbatical.
Yeah.
Oh, sabbatical.
There's
God, that's
a word.
a grown-up word, isn't
It's
it?
a grown-up word for doing nothing. Yes.
Sabbatical. Is that what it
100%.
means, isn't it? It's like I'm leaving
Essentially.
work to not find myself or anything? Is it-
Well, I mean, a true sabbatical, yes, you would
You go find
reflect upon
yourself.
it, and find yourself.
With
But
poetry and stuff.
realistically, what people do is
Always
just sit on the
poetry.
couch.
There'd be a lot of log cabins and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, you would.
Solitude. You go into the forest.
You go
and-
into the mountains and hang
the
out with the monks and
Yellowstone.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yellowstone up in the hill.
100%.
Okay, so Ken's about to coach his 273rd game, which equals him with Mark Williams as
Oh,
the
at Port
longest-serving
Adelaide.
coach
Yeah,
at
right.
Port Adelaide.
Yeah.
Right.
Choco Williams has been a great man at that football club and many other clubs. Luke Bruce, though, for Hawthorn, plays his 300th game in this weekend's
Brucey,
game.
nice
And a
work.
lot of people don't know a lot about Luke Bruce. Nathan would know nothing about Luke Bruce.
Bit of a fun name though, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
Is
it
it
is.
Luke and Bruce? Like Bruce.
B-R-
Bruce.
B-R-U-E-S-T. No, B-R-E-U-S-T.
Bruce.
And he's kicked 548 goals in his career. That's how good he is.
Well, and you know him when you're watching because if he does something good, the whole crowd goes bruised, and it sounds like they're
that's a bit
booing.
of fun, isn't it?
Hey, the West Coast Eagles W team
Yes.
won last night. I watched a bit of their game against the Western
Go
Bulldogs
Gals.
last night.
Good job.
It was an absolute shit fight for one of the better terms, and
Yeah.
that's a
An arm
technical
wrestle.
word. Yeah, it was. You know, what I'm a little bit disappointed in, the first week of the AFLW was the high scoring, and now, like, Freo didn't score. Western Bulldogs, as a team, up until last night, in the 2 games, has scored a total of 15 points. And last night it was 5 goals to 3, so it wasn't riveting stuff. But they've gone back to really mauls the
Defensive
whole
and
way.
yeah.
And I'm thinking from the
free flowing attacking footy.
yeah, and I think from the club, and we had Emma Driscoll in there before, so a lot of the clubs, a lot of the teams are committing so many numbers to the contest and not holding out in positions. And I know when you go back to the middle of the ground after a goal, then everyone has to, 6-6-6 is the way the formula needs to work. But, yeah, I think that the teams need to go back to coaching the men and the women's differently.
Yes. I mean,
'Cause
they're
they're at
different
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 levels.
sports, essentially.
They are.
Yeah.
They are. So I'd like to see that happen, and therefore the scoring will be a lot higher. And Australia has been on fire in the Davis Cup. They made a bit of a 3-0 whitewash of the Czech Republic. There's everyone was reporting this morning. But Alexei Popyrin's game, which is game 2,
Yes.
his opponent was injured and pulled out after a couple of games. That is the best way to play a tennis game, isn't it?
Is to not have to play a tennis game.
You get in there, you do the warm-up. The guy goes, I've got a blister on my heel, I'm out of here. And then you're like, thank you, I'm through.
That would be a good game. It'd free the day up. Harry?
What'd you find out? What's a golf cart going rate?
We found a 2016 standard golf cart club car 5.5.
So that's second-hand.
But those custom ones, you're looking at 10 to 12.
Yeah.
And with the bells and whistles, we're talking 15.
And you would want a bell and a whistle at the very least.
The old ones are petrol, the new ones electric.
Yes,
I'd
that's
want
right.
an electric one.
Yeah.
But yet I don't want an electric car yet. I just don't think we've got the infrastructure.
Okay, but we have for the golf
Well, we do.
fraternity.
Yeah.
I get it.
They
Okay.
run on AA batteries, don't they?
Some hard-hitting insights for you there today for your Friday.
Shaun Sport is a Nova podcast. For more great comedy shows like this, head to novapodcast.com.au.